Healing with Emma, and today we are going to talk about Marconics with the lovely, the beautiful, the amazing. You're an amazing life coach, I have to say. You have this knowledge and this understanding of things. It's soothing. You have a soothing energy, and I think you're brilliant. So the amazing Wendy Hutchinson. Thank you.
Thank you. What an awesome intro. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you for being here. No, it's true. You are a life coach, but you also do Marconics, and that's what I really wanted to talk to you about, because I hear it here and there. I see it online sometimes. I see the name. But to be perfectly honest, I don't really know what it is. I have this thing in the back of my mind. It has something to do with energetic healing in some way or form. But I wanted to go a little bit deeper in it. And I know a lot of people out there have heard about it and are also not sure what it's all about. So let's start with the beginning. What is it? What is?
Yeah, so Marconics is an ascension energy modality. It's an ascension modality because we raise your vibration. So ascension is basically elevating your vibration and becoming the highest and best version of you.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Becoming the best version of you.
Yeah, and so what happened was, prior to 2012, all the energy modalities, I need to kind of go back a little bit, because our personal 7 chakra field and our auric field was a closed torus. There was a closed energy torus, okay? So energy would come up from our feet, it would come up through the crown, it would fountain out and stay within our auric field, come back down. It was a closed auric field and a closed torus. So that was necessary to keep us in density, to keep us in the 3D. And that created, when our chakras were nipped and capped, when we came into this life, it created an experience that would allow us to have soul growth through various tangible relationships and interaction experiences that sometimes created karma. And what we would do is we could only transition and ascend out through a death transition and go to the 4th. So you're a medium, Emma, you talk to energies that have transitioned to the 4th. And then it was a closed energy torus, so the soul would come back in and reincarnate into another body and repeat the process. The goal was ascension and to leave a little bit better than when you came in. It was for soul growth, right? The evolution of the soul. So what Marconics does is we plug people in to the 5th dimensional energies and above. It's a multi-dimensional energy. And this was only available after we passed through the photon belt in 2012. The positioning of our planet, we came from below the Milky Way to above the Milky Way, and we had access to higher vibrational energies from out in the universe. So any healing modalities prior to 2012 are working in that closed energy torus, okay? The individual energy field, the subset of energy. Marconics plugs the individuals into what's called the unified field. And that's an 3-axiotonal field. It plugs you into your personal auric field, into the energy field of the crystalline grid and the universe. So as we raise your frequency and bring you into alignment with that energy, you are able to access and ascend and elevate out beyond the 3rd, 4th dimension. You can go to the 5th and beyond. Okay, so if you're on a soul path, if you're looking to ascend, when we do a recalibration and we uncap your chakra caps, and we pull out 51% of your karmic debris, that is going to elevate you a little bit. It's kind of like giving you a leg up. You're not going to be weighed down so much by the karmic things and triggers that were holding you back. You're going to get a little more detachment from this 3D reality and be able to better deal with things that emotionally triggered you before. Mm-hmm. So you can respond in a more positive way. Because what was happening was people were experiencing life from a very fear-based place.
Right.
Which means you'd be responding emotionally and being triggered in fear. So that means you're responding with anger, negativity, jealousy, anxiety, depression. And when you're in that space and living in that space of fear and responding to life, you're creating more karmic stuff. Okay?
Right.
Because you're lashing out, you're not responding as your highest and best self, and you're creating more karmic debris, more karmic shit is happening.
Right. And you're kind of, like you said, you know, it's a loop. You kind of
yes, you're stuck.
You're born. You're kind of recycled in a way.
You're recycling over and over and over. So what Marconics does is it gives the individual also, through the recalibration. Now, there's two types of things I'll talk about. We're talking about the recalibration right now. Mm-hmm. Also, when we are doing and running the Marconics Energy, we are creating through the 8th chakra, which is above the crown chakra, space for your etheric higher self to physically integrate into your physical body. Okay, so your higher self can physically come in, and when it does, that creates incredible alignment. It gives you clarity about what you need to do next. It gives you clarity about who you are. It gives you access to higher aspects of self.
Right.
Because of that alignment that happens. And healing does occur. Beautiful healing can occur because of that alignment, but this is not about the physical body healing. This is about giving you the alignment and energetic frequency that's going to lift you up and allow you to elevate and ascend as a soul.
Right.
So it's different than like a Reiki, we're both energy modalities, but it's kind of like we just run on different energy. It's kind of like if you have an electric appliance like a washer or dryer that runs on a 220 volts current, and then you have a lamp that runs on a lower voltage. We're just running at different voltage.
Right.
Different frequencies.
Right. So in a way, as we're evolving as human beings, we're starting to rise our vibrations, we're going into this different dimension. In a way, it's kind of like you open up the path for people to reconnect with their higher self, to reconnect to that higher vibrational energy that's out there, so you can be more true to who you really are.
Absolutely. And then with that alignment.
And you like rise above the kind of human restrictions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a huge part of it.
Okay.
Also, what happens with the recalibration. Now, a recalibration is a permanent raising of your frequency. You will be there forever. Okay. And your energy will be able to access up through the dimensions to the 12D. We're in a 12-dimensional matrix.
Okay.
Our universe is a 12-dimensional matrix. Earth and our reality is 3D right now. Mm-hmm. People are talking about a shift to 5. I don't know if a lot of your spiritual listeners will know what that's about.
Yeah.
And then, but we're actually in a 12D matrix.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So as we raise your frequency, you're able to access higher.
Right.
Okay. Without this recalibration process, you're in that closed torus, and you're just recycling 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4.
Right, right.
So this opens you up to elevate on your soul journey a little bit higher than just going to the fourth through a death transition. And you are able to do that while you're in human form through consciousness, expanded consciousness, and energetic frequency.
Okay. This is, I don't know if you mind if Eric pops in.
No, come on in, Eric.
He's going, hi, Wendy, I love you.
Hi. Is he going to ask me questions that are really tough? I hope not. I hope I got the answers.
No, he's just kind of repeating what you said. He just made it a little bit, I don't know, I guess a little bit more simpler. This is what he's saying. He's saying Marconics energy is a light encoded energy.
Yes.
And really it's like a full spectrum. It's like a multidimensional healing method. And
Yes.
because we're evolving, he says, as human beings into this new dimension, the energy healing methods that we know today in the third dimension, like Reiki and all of the other ones, he says, you know, it will eventually become ineffective on our evolved energetic body. So our body is evolving, everything's evolving, it's growing, it's rising, its frequency. Yes. And so the 3D methods of energy healing will no longer have any effect on our 5D bodies. And
that's
so
true.
We have to adjust it to a higher dimensional body template. And, yes. And he's saying, you know, don't get me wrong, people. You know, when it comes to the third dimensional healing ways, they're still going to be powerful and necessary, because not everybody will rise to that next level all at the same time. A lot of people are worried and afraid about that, but it's a gradual expansion for every individual. It's going to be different for every individual.
Exactly.
So the 3D healing will still be necessary until everyone slowly but surely gets there.
Yes.
But basically, that's what it does, he says.
Yes.
It's a healing to reconnect yourself to your true self, so you can then experience the physical experience, but with a more enlightened state of mind, with a better insight and a better understanding, because you are more closely connected to the higher self.
Yes, and source as well.
Source, yeah. Well, he says, yeah, but the higher self is source, and your source.
That's true.
And
that's true.
He's saying we're all the fucking universe, but everybody sees himself as a little particle of it, but we're the whole fucking thing, okay?
Yes. Okay. You're right. Of course, you're right. I surrender. Well said.
I love you. You do great. He says you did great.
Well, that was perfectly said, and I'm glad that came from him and not me. So thanks for that. Thanks for jumping in.
He's saying I'm here to just every now and then I want to say my little thing. So.
Well, that's all good. It's all good. Well, I want to talk a little bit more, because we do also through that recalibration, and that's something that has to be done in person.
Okay.
Okay. It's like we're working with the holographic body, and it needs to be done in person with the practitioner. Mm-hmm. But we also activate additional strands of DNA.
Oh, okay.
Right now there's 2 strands and 10 currently that are kind of dormant. Mm-hmm. And so those strands, once we activate the additional 10, start to bring abilities and things online for the client that were kind of dumbed down and, shut off, basically.
Right.
When people were born in with just the 2-strand DNA, they did not have the memory or knowledge of who they were and their abilities.
Right.
People like us, obviously, who have awakened abilities, but there are many, like everybody has these abilities. Mm-hmm. And so going through that recalibration process will kind of awaken that DNA, and through that, they will start, if their abilities will start to grow, and if you already have abilities, they will become even more sharpened.
Right. Right.
you know. So
So if you, I mean, during a session, what can we expect? I mean, is it just you and a practitioner? Are there a lot of people there that are all holding hands? And I don't know how do I?
it's a one-to-one experience.
Yeah.
It's me and the client in the space, but I will tell you that there are guides that are there.
Right.
I'm the conduit for the energy, but the guides that are there are working with my Marconics Energy guides. Personal guides are there also, because their guides know exactly what that individual needs. Everybody's receiving different frequency adjustments. People are going to be having different chakra fields worked on. So much, like 51% of your karmic stuff is removed. All the guides are very involved in that, and sometimes, often when I disconnect and I've completed my work, they continue to work on that individual.
Oh, okay. So the work continues. It's not just
the work continues.
The person goes home, the energy will continue to move.
Depending, I mean, it's person to person, it's so different, right? Everybody needs something different and experiences something different.
Right.
It's a two session experience, one day and then the next day.
Okay.
So it's a 2-session process. It's done in person. Now we have a Marconics no-touch session available, and that is really something we can do by distance. We would not do a higher self integration because that is kind of a sacred thing, and that needs to be done in person. But we do offer distance sessions, and I've had very powerful experiences happen for people doing distance sessions.
All right, that's good. So in a way, you can do it, let's say, over Skype, and in a way, you have to do it in person. It kind of depends, you know, on. I guess if it's in person, it's more intensified. It's more personal. I
think the difference is when you're in person. The main difference is that I can do a higher self integration for you.
Right.
That's the main difference. I don't do it by Skype. I would call the person prior to beginning, make sure they're laying down, that they've taken all their jewelry off.
Okay.
Because the metal sometimes heats up. I mean, we're running a really high frequency energy, so we make sure everybody's taken off all their jewelry and piercings or whatever. And so I'll just call, and then basically they'll lay down, we'll hang up, I'll connect into their field, I'll run the energy, and then we'll talk after to kind of discuss the session. The Marconics no touch is something that we can do, like I said, either distance or in person, and that's kind of like a 2-week bump. So your frequency is raised. It's like a good vacation, and you feel great, and then it kind of like, oh God, I'm back down, you know. back to baseline, you know. So that's a great option for people who don't live near a practitioner, or, you know, if somebody wants to do a distance session. I've had awesome experiences with people having distance.
Good. Okay. And so if people come to you, or they do the distance one, would they need to do any kind of preparation?
Don't do drugs. Don't be stoned when I work on you. That's like numero uno.
That's a no-no.
Pot down. They need to be sober. You know, don't be wasted. That's like the main thing, right? You want to be clear.
You want to be clear. A clear channel, pure.
Yes. You want to receive the highest and best benefit. So you really want to be clear. You want your energy and field to be clear of substances and things, and that's the best, you know, advice that I can give before we do something, because you're doing this to elevate yourself. You want to get the highest and best benefit from it.
Right. And so how long does a session last? Like how long?
Yeah, so if I do a no-touch session, it's about 45 minutes. And we talk a little bit before, then I run the energy, and then we'll talk after.
Mm-hmm.
The distance session, I'll ask somebody just to please remain laying down for 45 minutes, even if they feel that I've disconnected. Because like I said, sometimes the energy continues, work continues. I don't want somebody jumping up and getting on the phone or,
Right.
like
Where
just
are
chill.
you?
Just chill for like,
Still there.
yeah, a total of 45 minutes, and then we'll talk. We talk again, either if they're overseas, we could do it by Skype or
Right.
whatever, or phone. So that's kind of how that works. So there's two things available. The Scooby Snack is the no touch, and the thing I want to say about getting recalibrated permanently. So anybody can have a no touch session. Anybody, whether you're medium or not, you can.
Okay.
It's fine because it's temporary. It's not permanent. It's just a nice boost for your energy. But I did talk to a couple of people who are mediums who wanted a recalibration, and that wasn't recommended. And the reason was when you're permanently raised in frequency, you will be coming down. Now you're 5D and above, right? So to connect to spirit, you'd actually, instead of going from 3 to 4 and rising up, you're actually having to lower a little bit to connect.
Oh, right.
So that creates a dissonance in the field, and it can shred your energy field by it. Like for someone like you, Emma, who does it daily, constantly, it's just a lot of strain on your energetic field to be up and down, up and down, up and down all the time.
Right. It's very tiring.
Right. So for somebody who's a practicing medium or something like that, or someone practicing 3D modalities like a Reiki, you would maybe want to do a no touch and not a recalibration, because even Reiki, you're coming down to a 3D energy modality, right? You're creating that dissonance and distortion in the energetic frequency. So it's not that one is better than another. I just want to be super clear. We all have people that we're here to serve. So I do want to honor everybody who is a healer, regardless of whether they're doing a modality prior to 2012 or doing something new post 2012. We all have a community to serve. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I get it though. Yeah, what you're saying is basically, when you recalibrate, basically you're reaching all of these different dimensions all the way up.
High. You go super
really high. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so where spirits reside, they're still within, a lower dimension.
They're laying right on top of us, right?
Yeah, they're very close to us. Right.
Yeah.
And so, so I would have to, if I go all the way to all the way up, I would have to constantly lower, kind of like what spirits are doing to connect to us. They have to constantly lower their frequency.
Yes,
in order
very
for
much
us to
so.
connect. I would have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So that would.
But now, after the shift, okay, as we shift it to 5D, this would be a great question for Eric if he's still around. As we shift up to 5D, maybe that wouldn't be an issue anymore because this is a 5D and above multidimensional energy. I don't know,
what he's saying is that either way, if you're vibrating at a different frequency that is very remote from where you are residing at that moment, it's always going to take some effort and it's going to take some energy to do that. However, the more we rise up in dimension as human beings, the easier it will be. And so, yeah, he's saying, as of now, in regards to anybody who's a medium or who wants to connect to spirit or anything like that, it can help because your frequency will completely, rise, and you really let go of the doubts and the fears and the insecurities that you have of, because he says no matter how confident a medium is, there's always that little bit in the back of their mind that says, you sure you're not crazy? You sure you're talking to someone? There is always that. He says, no matter how long they do it, no matter how accurate they are, no matter, how much confirmation they will get and receive, the little human thingy that was planted in when you were born, that you can only believe what you can see, is always there, and it's always in the back of every medium's mind. And so what that would do is it would take away that. It would take away that insecurity, that those fear-based things, that would make it easier. It would actually, for him, he says, it would be easier to lower your vibration than it is to make it rise. So again, he says it depends on from person to person how it would be. So
yeah, because it depends on where they are from a vibration standpoint currently, right? That's
right.
That.
Right. Exactly.
So, but the higher self knows.
Right. And he also says, just one thing that you have to keep in mind, sometimes we're not ready to go there. Sometimes we're not ready to open that all up because we still have to learn lessons here in the 3D. We're not always ready to make that step yet. So just keep.
I will tell you that it was, when I did that, it was mind. If I had known like what was going to happen, I maybe would have thought, I would have had a little more of a hesitation, because it was like when, Carrie Walker says it's like strapping a rocket booster to your ass. You get recalibrated. That's no joke.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're on this path, man, bam, you better strap in, because
she's told me so much stuff. She's like, this happened and that happened, and she's so excited about it, and it just blows her mind every time these things.
Well, it blows all of our minds as it's happening. You're like, what did I just see? Holy cow, like, you're just like, okay. I know I'm not crazy. I think I've said that, like, I had $1 for every time I said that. I know what I'm seeing, and I also, as I got further on the process of my spiritual evolution, I just started to really connect to my higher self, to be able to see what I'm doing on the astral. Who am I as my higher self? People walk around with so many self-doubts and so much negative self-talk. And if they could see who they really are, if they could see that there's some incredible angelic, or I don't know, whatever.
Right.
They would never doubt
be like,
themselves.
Screw everything else.
Yeah, they'd be like, really? And I got upset because I didn't hit this income mark, didn't make that sale, or my kid is not doing what I want them to do and dropping out of college. Like, who cares?
Right. And I hear that all the time in my readings. Eric or their guides or their family members who are deceased will say, hey, stop identifying with being a human. Identify with being a spiritual being. And you will see that all of this is just temporary. And this is just an experience. It's just a glimpse. It's not who you are. It is just a glimpse to help you raise your vibration, expand, grow, learn, and experience. And that's it. So
it's purely an experience. Yeah, and it doesn't. I think that human filters, we always want to label it a good or bad experience.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that individual is experiencing is exactly what their soul needed right now to learn something about themselves. It's not good or bad. We're so judgmental about what we're seeing and witnessing, because we have this idea of how life needs to look, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the human duality, and according to what Eric tells me, this is in the human condition, it's the only place we have duality. Yes. At other species or other dimensions, it's not there. It's just here on Earth. Okay, so I got a question from one of the followers, and she wanted to know that if after you have a session, she had heard from people that some people get headaches, some people get stomach aches, some people don't get anything. If you can literally get sick from this, if you can literally feel discomforts after this happens.
That's such a great question. And I want to say that this is about shedding and releasing karmic debris.
Right.
Okay. So every single person's going to have a different experience depending on how much work they've done internally or spiritual work they've done.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's done a lot of work personally, just kind of looking at all of those dark places and excavating and doing that soul work, they're going to have a relatively easy time with the recalibration process. Okay. Some people who have not done any work, they're going to have shedding that happens. There are going to be situations that are going to come up, and they're coming up for you to look at them and be released. It could be a relationship issue, or maybe your mother-in-law triggers you, or your child or spouse, or something at work. These things are the gifts. They're going to feel difficult because those experiences have been coming up for you repeatedly, and you haven't really gone there.
You haven't
done the work, dealt with it. So what I tell my clients is, expect sometimes that something's going to trigger you, but when I plug you in with Marconics, you're going to feel a little more detached. It won't hook you as much as it did before, and that detachment is going to allow you to process it in a little kinder way, maybe look at it a little more objectively, and respond in a higher and kinder way. So yes, there are some emotional things, but this is serving you because it's to be released.
Right. It's forcing you to process it, because it needs to be removed, or it needs to be neutralized.
Yes.
In order for you to be able to open.
It's like cutting the ballast that's holding you down.
Right.
In the water. Every time you transcend a situation that was difficult, you've just cut a weight and you've gone a little bit higher.
Right.
And so, yes, there can be, sometimes people kind of shed by getting sick. You know, their system kind of is processing that energy. And I'm not saying you're definitely ill, but you might get a cold, or you might feel flu-like symptoms. You might get the runs. It's all releasing shedding density. And it's a good thing. And so really, once I work with my clients, I'm there for them to walk them through the process. I don't just send them on their way. They can call and say, I'm really going through this tough time right now, and I will help them through the process. It's not like I just throw you out there and say, good luck, goodbye, thanks.
Thanks for coming. See you later.
Yeah, so I do spiritually coach you through this process.
Right.
Yeah, and no additional charge. I just walk beside you through the process. Right. So, and then there's people who jump off the table and they just blast off into life, and it's amazing. You know, every
it really depends, again, person to person.
Yeah.
Like you said before, we were here on an individual journey, and so everything that occurs around us and through us and with us will be individually, you know, it'll have a fingerprint of you, and
that's exactly
showing me, like, he's showing me up and down. He's saying some people might have a great week and then a bad week where stuff is just getting
churned up.
Yeah, it's getting processed, it's being released, and that can get you physically ill, it can get you emotionally ill.
Yes.
And then you can go back up again. So it can do this, and it can do this, he says. It can go completely like, yay!
Yeah.
And all this stuff is happening and opening up, and you're seeing spirit, and all of a sudden you hear something.
Yeah.
And it can also just, you know, kind of be a struggle if you have all this undealt energy that hasn't been processed. It can be a little bit of a struggle, but the end result, he says, is always good. The end result will always be.
It's worth it if you're. Yes. And I think people, overanalyze the struggle. You know, people really like to be in that resistance. You know, resistance. They want to fight it. They don't want the change. Some people have been chronically ill, and what would it look like if I wasn't chronically ill anymore?
Right.
Ooh. Right? There's some emotional hooks there. You know, who am I if I heal and become complete and whole?
Right. Or some people, they get so comfortable in the victim phase.
Absolutely.
You know, it consumes them, and they wouldn't know who they are without it. So
yes.
So
that's
a scary thing sometimes.
It's scary.
Yeah.
But we are as a collective evolving and ascending.
And I think you can kind of see that now. I've been sick. My whole family's been sick. Everything. This whole country's been sick. And everywhere I look, I say, I hear people to say the same thing. My back hurts. I got flu symptoms. The whole world seems to be sick.
So we call that vibrational flu. We call it a vibrational flu. It's the shedding. It's the shedding stuff.
Right. That's what's happening right now, even.
Yes. And so everybody who's getting sick, you're releasing things out of your field. Allow that. Honor yourself. Rest. Hydrate. We hold a lot of emotional things in our back, our knees, our wrists, our joints. Right. We hold emotional things. And so if you are experiencing those pains, if you are someone who is connected to yourself or you meditate, go inward. Something.
Illness also forces you. It gives you time to think,
yes,
to reflect,
absolutely.
to go inside, because you'll be laying on a couch,
right? You've got your Netflix on and your blanket and your tea,
right? Yeah, your ginger lemon tea.
Exactly, we love that tea.
It gives you time to process things. It gives you time to do some inner reflection and to say, okay, why? What's going on?
And also honor your body. Mm-hmm. So many people don't realize that this physical vehicle is so important because it houses our soul. Mm-hmm. And people forget to honor their body with what they're putting in it, how they treat it, their emotional body and physical body.
Eric always tells me your body's your best friend.
Yeah.
And you have to love it like your best friend. You have to take care of it. You have to embrace it when it's hurting, and you have to put it to bed when it needs rest. So
yes.
Really, it's a separate entity from who you are. It has its own consciousness, and so a lot of people might not know this, but after we leave this body, when we transition and we release ourselves from this physical body, the physical body continues to live on for several days after, even if it is declared deceased, even when the heart is stopped or the brain has stopped functioning. The body will continue to fight because it is an individual, because it is a separate entity that has its own consciousness.
It does have consciousness.
Take care of it because it's a joint relationship. It's a teamwork effort. And this body is willing to give you this experience. So, we need to take better care of our bodies.
Also, our bodies are the housing and clothing for our soul.
Yeah.
Now, we need to honor our souls, our higher selves, by honoring our physical vehicle.
Because we chose it.
We did.
We chose
it. Yes. Yes. So we should be kinder to ourselves about how we look.
Right. Because every negative thought, our body cells respond to that energy, and our body gets hurt and it starts weeping. And I always see a weeping body as a sick body because it's not receiving the love that it needs.
Yes, I think it's important for people to know that our thoughts carry so much power. Our thoughts have an energetic frequency. There's so many things with consciousness that we are not aware of. I don't know if you saw there was that study where water was shown to have consciousness.
Yeah, that's a really cool study.
Doctor. So when you drink water, it has consciousness. You can actually connect to that consciousness. Anyway, I thought that was really interesting.
Everything that is has its own frequency, has its own consciousness, and I think as a human being, we sometimes forget about that, and so we treat the world and planets and animals.
For sure.
We just don't treat it with the love and the respect that it deserves. So I think we need to become more aware of our environment and of our bodies. And really share the compassion and the love for everything that is. So
absolutely, and we're all connecting. Like Eric said, you know, we are all one, and that's not just one with humanity. We are one with everything.
we are everything.
We are everything. Exactly.
That's how it is.
Yes. Exactly.
Going, fuck yeah. Sorry,
People need to realize that, because if we are being unkind to somebody, we're being unkind to ourselves.
Yeah, it's true. But we're so, you know, and the thing is, you know, it is kind of hard because we are here for the individual experience.
Yes.
You know, and at the same time, we're experiencing everything with everyone. So, you know, you need to find a balance in that, I think, in some way.
Definitely, definitely. Were there any other questions?
Yeah. So, is Marconics safe for everyone? Can it, for instance, be applied onto children? Or does it
for children, I'll say no, because children are already born awake, already vibrating at such a high level. Marconics is not necessary.
Right.
Children. And so we do not work on children vibrationally. Also, it accelerates your life path if you have a recalibration. So we do not work on people who have like diabetes. It can cause spikes in their insulin levels. We do not work on people who have heart disease. We also do not work on people who have any kind of metal implants.
Right.
Because the frequency heats up the metal.
Yeah, because the vibration starts to rise.
It's so strong. And
yeah.
Yes, and I can't undo it. Like once it's
done, it's done.
It's hot. So if there's any metal in the person's physical vehicle, I will not work on them. So I do ask those questions before we start.
Okay, yeah. So that's good. So if they want to know whether or not they would apply for it, then it's better to talk to you first.
Yes, absolutely. I always talk to every client before on the phone before we schedule anything, just to be very clear about what they can expect, and also to go through that little pre-screening process.
Right, right. Just to, you know, it's for their own safety, so that's good.
Absolutely. We want to do this work in full integrity. And I want to say that I'm a Marconics practitioner. I'm the highest level certified practitioner that you can be. And I'm a practitioner. I'm not an employee or representative of Marconics. So this is all, I'm speaking from my experience with it and knowledge of it. But I really strive to do my work with full integrity.
Right, right. So you always need a practitioner, right? You can't, this is not something you can do on your own. This is you need that conductor.
Yes. You need someone who's been trained and certified in this. And I feel very strongly that because of the nature of our work, you know, we're working with the holographic body, working with the etheric self. You don't want, we're uncapping all of your chakras and leaving them and resetting the spin, pulling out karmic stuff. You really want somebody who knows what they're doing.
What they're doing, yeah, because this is a permanent thing.
Permanent. You want to make sure that you have somebody who's actually been trained in this work.
Yeah. So
because it's
you know,
a very
follow
personal
your heart. Follow your heart. Is this
Absolutely.
person that you're talking to, does it feel good? Does it feel safe to you?
Yes.
I think with everything that we do, you know, it's always follow your heart. Follow what feels right for you. And you will be guided to the right person for you.
I really believe that, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like the people who show up and work with me are very much sent to me by their higher selves.
Right. Well, I had another question of a blog member who wanted to know if it helps with physical problems too. Like if you look at Reiki, you know, that can really help with physical aches and pains. But
yes, we've had alignment. Okay, so the healing comes with the alignment and the energetic alignment, the soul alignment that happens through Marconics.
Right, probably because a lot of illnesses are linked to spiritual problems, to mental.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I have had experiences where people have had issues clear.
Right.
Because of it. But the reason I don't sell or talk about Marconics as a healing modality is because it's really up to the higher selves and the spiritual being to determine, is this person going to be healed or not?
Right.
Certain people have certain contracts that they come into life with.
Right.
And so those are honored. And so I can't, with a clear conscience, say every person who comes to me is,
will be healed.
Physically healed.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the difference, because I had another question. This was from
it does
Karen,
happen, I will say.
From Karen and from Daisy. Their questions were, is it better or different? How is it different or better than Reiki? And does it override Reiki or complement it? But the way I kind of understand, if I understand what you're saying, Reiki is really focused more on the healing the physical body and the energy of that physical body.
Yes.
While Marconics is more in opening up everything so you can connect to your higher self, who knows 100% why you're here, what you're here to experience. And then once that connection is there, you might not be healed, but in a way you might, because if the understanding is completely open that this illness is here for a reason, and I now know what that reason is, it will heal you spiritually, it will heal you in your mind, but it won't necessarily heal the physical body, because it's part of a journey, it's part of a lesson that is necessary.
Yeah, so some people do experience physical healing.
Yeah.
Some people don't. It depends on
where the physical healing comes from, or why
exactly. But I will tell you, you're going to get a lot of clarity.
Right.
You're going to get a lot of clarity around emotional things that can sometimes be the cause of the physical manifestation.
Right, because sometimes if we're denying our journey, if we're stepping away from our path, our body will respond to it and say, "Oh, alert, alert, you're not
absolutely."
Then you will be healed physically. But if you are here, let's say, I don't know, with arthritis, since you were little, that happens, children have arthritis, there might be a contract attached to that. And so
with their soul family
healing will happen, the mental healing, the spiritual healing will happen, not the physical healing.
Yeah, so it
really depends.
It's a case by case, and it's really up to their guides and their higher selves and the contracts that have been made before they can
determine what's best for them, in a way.
Yeah, I really am a conduit for that energy, and I know what I'm doing is pure. The frequency I'm running is powerful. You will have spiritual shifts if you are going to continue on the path. I kind of liken it to giving you the keys to a brand new Porsche. Like, here's the keys. My recalibration, I'm giving you the keys to unlock your spiritual journey, to take yourself to the next level. But you have to put it in the ignition and drive somewhere.
Right.
You can't just go sit in the Porsche.
Wait for stuff to happen.
Wait for it to go somewhere. You have to be involved in the process, the evolution, in the work, to take your higher self as fast as you can go, or far as you can go.
That's kind of with everything, though, I think. A lot of people think, if you do just Reiki healing, we just have to, it's going to be healed, they're done. But there's always, your spirit is always communicating to the spirit of the healer. And so there's always an interaction then. There's always, there needs to be a willingness to open up to heal as well. So
yeah, I mean, I think everything boils down to being willing to go inward.
mm-hmm.
That's where it all begins. It's inside of you. It's not external. You're experiencing external symptoms, right? But it's really alignment of the soul that is going to create the healing for you. I feel like when you heal on the inside, etherically and on a soul level,
mm-hmm.
Things are going to manifest externally as well.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because we create our reality with our thoughts, our energy, with our soul.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah,
manifesting it. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I had another question.
Okay.
And this question is it true that Marconics calls on the support from galactic beings like angels and archangels?
Marconics Energy does come down, and we do call in energy from galactic beings. That's true.
From higher beings, from higher vibrational energy.
Yes.
To come and help. And you already kind of
that is true. It's a multidimensional energy.
Right.
And above.
Okay. Another question was, is it okay to do any other healing or energy work after a session?
That's a great question. I ask if you do a no-touch session that you wait 2 or 3 weeks and allow that frequency to recalibrate back down. If you do a no-touch session. If you're recalibrated, we ask that if you don't eat and you don't need to do additional energy work if you don't want to. Once you're recalibrated, you're at the frequency that you're at. But we ask that you work in these 3 modalities because they are in sync with Marconics. It would be acupuncture, and we ask that you would do that with gold tip needles because, again, the metal will heat up because your frequency is much higher.
Right.
Acupuncture is fine. Cranial sacral work, we totally recommend. It's awesome healing work. It's totally in alignment with Marconics. The other thing is Marconics no-touch sessions, which you can do after your recalibration. But there's a 30-day layback period where we ask you to do nothing and just allow your frequency to completely and fully recalibrate to its optimum level without interference from any other modalities.
Right. Okay. This was also a question. Can you send Marconic energy into crystals?
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder what the motivation was behind that.
The person that I talked to, she said that I guess when they were doing the Marconics, they weren't allowed to have crystals or, like you said, any jewelry or anything on them. But she wanted to know if you can raise the vibration of a crystal with the Marconic energy so you can then carry it with you or carry it on.
Oh, the reason we don't, crystals record.
Right. And they also have a very high frequency.
Yes, crystals record and they also can transmit. And so we just ask that there's no crystals in the room when we do the session. We want to keep the energy pure. We don't want our protocols being recorded and transmitted out. Crystals. So it's really that's why we don't have crystals in the room when we practice Marconics. As far as beaming crystals, I guess you can. I don't know the answer to that, really. I don't beam my crystals. I don't clear them that way. I suppose you could, but I don't really know the answer to that. But
Let me see what Eric says.
Yeah, ask the expert.
Okay, so he's saying that you can raise the vibration of a crystal. However, it's not recommended because it takes away their identity. It takes away their qualities to heal. a lot of people would think, he says, that if you increase the vibration of the crystal, that it would increase the power. But it's actually the other way around, because you are forcing an entity to be something that it's not, and that it's not willing to be. So changing its frequency would change the qualities and the healing abilities of the crystal itself.
Yes. Same for plants.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like if you were walking by and wanting to beam a plant or something, or a tree.
Yeah, because you're forcing it to be something that
you're forcing it on them, and they're not willingly asking to receive it.
Exactly. And it needs, he's just saying it needs to be an agreement.
Yes.
It needs every individual, whether it is a stone, a rock, whether it is a plant,
or your pet.
Or your pet, whenever something is forced upon it without its approval, their energy is going to fight it, and it's going to really mess up their frequency. It's going to bring it down instead of rise it up. So that's.
I love having Eric. It's like Ask Eric. Yeah. Over to him.
He's my guide, so he's always around. You know?
Awesome.
And I'm so closely connected to him. You know.
Love it.
That he, you know, I have three guys. I have a team of three. I have Marna, which is an angel. I have Raphael, and I have Eric. That's my spiritual team. But Eric is so loud that he
drowns out everybody
talking to me, and he's always, you know, my angels are different. When I connect to them, it is mostly just thoughts, you know. But Eric is thoughts, feelings, pictures all at once. It's like boom, here. So you know, he's the one who always comes through the most. So
oh gosh,
sorry, guys. Sorry.
I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's helping us get through it. Okay.
Anything he's saying you're welcome. This is the last question that I have, and you were talking about the 12 dimensions and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But Kim was asking, are there more than 12 energy fields, or just 12? And how often should your fields be clean? So I don't know if she means dimensions.
I think what she's talking about is the chakras.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we have 7. The human experience is in that closed torus is the 7 chakra field.
Right.
Okay. As we uncap the chakras, they're going to expand to the galactic chakra field, which is much larger. And I'm just going to, I think I marked this to tell me. I had a feeling this question was going to come up, and
I wasn't quite sure what it meant.
Yeah, I think what she was referring to is the chakra, the number of chakras. So I'm just going to see if I could find it real quick. I think it can go to the. Oh, here it is. Oh no, this is about the. Well, what will happen with the chakra field is it'll go to a 22 chakra field system from 7. 22. That's what it says, including the galactic chakras. So your galactic chakras are going to be activated. Also, with the DNA, your DNA will go to 12, 24, or 48, depending on your place of origin in the universe.
Oh, okay.
Where your soul originated from. You'll either go 12, 24, or 48.
All right, cool.
DNA strands.
Which one are you?
I don't know, I'm pretty far out there, so I'm like way out there, so I'm not sure. Probably the highest.
All right, cool. So if people want to connect with you, where can they go? Where can they reach you?
Yes, they can go to my website. It's www.alinealifecoaching.com. It's ALINEA lifecoaching.com. Or they can email me. It's Wendy, WENDY, at alinealifecoaching.com. No, I'm sorry, that's my website. Wendy at Alinea Life Coaching. Wait, I don't even know my email. I'm just having a mental.
I'll put it down here.
Yeah, put the link.
I'll put it down here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Eric,
I had a mental fart.
Was laughing because you call it Alinea. Alinea. He called it this. Align a life. Align a life.
Yeah, I do align a life. So if that makes sense, align a life, I'll take
Align a life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We're doing okay. You got it. Wendy at alinealifecoaching.com. I'm going to write it down here, people. I'm going to write it down here so you can connect with this wonderful
Email me.
lady. Thank you. Thank you, Wendy, for this. Thank you for explaining it. I got it. It was a little bit different than I expected, but I understand what it is. So this was very enlightening. This was very enlightening. So if you guys want to connect with Wendy, don't be afraid to reach out. I'm going to put all the information at the end of the video as well. Don't forget, she is an amazing life coach as well. So I highly recommend her. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see each other again. I have that feeling. There's going to be a lot more cooperation between us.
Definitely.
So
Definitely. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Emma. I love you.
I love you too. All right. Love you guys. And God bless. And we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.